what it be like?
How you doing?
Enjoying life as usual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How's the weather in New York? Because it's blazing here.
We have an
It's hot.
echo.
I'm sweating right now. I have a long sleeve tee on for no reason. Life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think it might be. Let me mute it. All right. Is it?
Mm-mm.
Alrighty. Let me see. Let's try it like this. Let's exit out and see. Leave the meeting. Is there still an echo? Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing. Uh-oh. We got to do a process of elimination. But as we're doing that, we are on the final element of the Avatar Cipher.
Hold on. Are we even on YouTube? I'm confused. We are? Okay. We got all discombobulated as we came in here. I then wasn't quite sure.
Uh-oh. Alrighty.
And we have echo.
Echo.
Echo. Okay.
My mic sounds nice. Check 1.
Make sure your Zoom
All right, let
is
me see.
muted.
Alrighty.
I'm just going to go ahead and introduce the show. This is the X Radio, where you can find us every Thursday night at 6 p.m. here on Glockaware Radio. If you have not tuned in before, you can find us live on YouTube right now. Go to YouTube, type in Glockaware, and hit the live link, and you'll see 2 lovely ladies. You can even comment. Oh, no, today you can't comment because we're Zooming. But you can check us out. Yes. I heard we're going to make miracles today. So I'm very excited. I came prepared.
All right, how does it sound? Sounds great?
I hear one.
Oh, you know what? We're not going to let one monkey stop the circus. All right.
So, on that note, this is my final week with my dear Ania Mahogany. And I have had a great time.
Yeah, I feel like we've been in the classroom of the cosmos.
Right, yeah.
This whole, every element we brought with us. We talking about ether, like heat, and it's blazing out. So it's been an honor. Just thank you to have me on, your side. Just swimming down this journey of life. Row your boat. It's just a blessing. And I thought, why not end it on a good thing? Like when it was the summertime and it was nostalgic. I was in New York. I was, with the kids, and I was like, I had to bring up my boy Shavar, an educator, a photographer, and he's going to give you the New York Harlem perspective of, art therapy. He's like, I'm going to let him break it down. Okay, so tell us a little bit about yourself, because
it's nice to meet you.
Yes.
Where do I start? I mean, this is all about Ania Mahogany.
Oh my gosh.
I'm gonna always big her up, and she knows that. I'm like one of her biggest supporters. When I first heard her voice, it was one of the dopest voices I ever heard in my life. But as far as me, like Ania said, I'm an artist, man. Art is a big part of who I am. Art is my salvation. I love music. I love to do photography. I'm a former graffiti artist. I'm looking at your background. I'm like, I kind of study because I'm seeing the colors, and it's like one of the dopest things, and it helps me get through an everyday process. I used to write music, so I used to be an MC and all that. So every aspect of art is a part of me, especially hip hop. I used to break dance. I'm pretty bad now. I used to MC. I even tried to DJ. My grandmother owned the nightclub, and when it closed, I took all the equipment. I even attempted to DJ. And even I used to, like I said, I MC. I used to write rhymes for people. I did it all. I even made music, and I actually introduced Ania to one of my good friends, Eric K.
E52 Beats. Yes, he's a great producer, and he also does a lot of work with DJ Kid Capri. He does a lot of work with so many talented artists that's coming out of New York, and that's how I linked up and started my first script of the Love Gun album, Volume 1, I guess. But yeah, not only that, you were working in the school where you were doing all this dope photography and education. And how do you think you took your art therapy and moved that into your craft now that you have?
No, absolutely. Like one of the key things that I did when I was running the after school programs in the summer.
And it was called the Children's Aid Society.
Children's
So
Aid
it was a
Society.
really big program in New York where we were taking a lot of the kids and we had to create a whole like schedule for them for the whole summer. So sometimes it would be around the world in 28, in 88 days, and we only have a certain amount of time, and we would create fake passports for them just so they can get the idea of like, hey, we're going here. So that's just a little bit of like how we actually linked up, and then it was just like boom. So how did you take your art therapy that you learned from Harlem, New York, all that energy, and like channel it into like the program?
No, like I was gonna say, it's one of the things that everyone here is a creative. I tell it to everyone. Art is how your mind interprets it. So some people say, I can only draw stick figures, but that's what your mind sees. Right. Some people are great painters, some people are great poets, but you have to find your craft. Some people are great chefs. In every aspect of your life, there's an art. Like it was referring to in our summer camp programs, we had cooking. We had archery, we had theater, we had, you weren't a part of this, we had capoeira. We had all these different things that are self-expressions, a way for a youth or an adult to be able to get their frustrations out, to get their emotions out, whether it's love, anger, happiness, sadness. How do you express yourself? Whether, like I said, poetry or photography, it's different aspects. And one of the cool things about that was I always look into the inner person, talking to that person and figure out who they are. Because that art is inside you. That art could be the way that you dress. Because I'm from Harlem, so we wear pink and purple. That's what we do, and it's all about being a fashion statement here in Harlem. But that's how our art is to dress fly, to use that slick language. That's who we are as Harlemites. But if you're not from Harlem, whether you're from the Bronx or you're from Philly, wherever you are, what's that art? Whether it's riding dirt bikes and
okay,
whether it's Harlem or Philly, we do it here in Harlem too, big time. But that's your art, that's your calling, that's your salvation. That gets you through your stressful times. I always tell people, find that thing that's going to get you through it. As long as it isn't a detriment to who you are, but if it helps you, whether it's a long drive. But back to those youth, it was really important for me to be able to have them express themselves. Like, looking at people and saying, you have that talent. Because like when I first met Ania, she wouldn't sing. I'm like, dude, what's up? What's up? Like, and I didn't mean to put her on the spot. I'm like, you have this talent. And if you share that talent, you give the youth, the other adults, a way to express themselves. And I can do something too. There's someone else who can sing. They can play guitar or piano, whatever it is. Like using yourself as that vehicle to say, hey, I can channel this. Like me doing photography, I go and take pictures of everything. It was like, hey, kids, I can do this. You can do this too. This is my salvation.
That's so
this
important.
Is how I get through it.
I'm sorry. Sorry, because a lot of these kids are not introduced, and if you're not introduced, then you don't know what your options are. So to be able to have those platforms and safe spaces for them to explore different things that, hey, I'm interested in that, or I'm good at that, is so, so important.
No, you bring up a good point, and this is one thing that I've noticed over the years working with kids in the inner city. The arts were removed from the schools, as we all know, and introducing you to new things was kind of different. It was like almost like a foreign language. Like you introduce the theater and the youth were like, I don't want to do this. This is whack. What's whack about it? It's just because it's foreign to you. You didn't know it. You didn't know you loved it. Yeah. You didn't know that this was something that you can either have a life off of. Introducing the youth to cooking. Oh, cooking is for girls. I'm like, dude, do you know who the top chefs
are? Right.
I'm sorry. Yeah. Like it's not a sex thing. It's about what you want to do. It's not a gender role. Like if you want to be a chef or a singer or a dancer, do that thing. A lot of our kids are, I want to be a basketball player. What about soccer? What about baseball? What about chess? What about, expanding your mind and trying something different? And that's something that I did my best as a program director, is introducing youth to different things that they weren't accustomed to. One of the last years I ran one of the programs, we had both brass and string instrument. And the kids were like, what is this?
Right.
And it was like, and it was foreign to them,
So what was customary?
What was customary? Dance, hip hop dance.
Okay.
That was it. Nothing against hip hop dance. I love the instructor, one of the dopest dancers I've ever met.
But they didn't have instruments before.
They didn't have instruments.
Oh,
no, not even in the school day. Like the after school programs, luckily we were able to provide that self expression during the afternoon times. During the day, unfortunately, in the standard attack on the school system, they focus more on test taking and the academic piece, opposed to that like I said, that self expression, to be able that the way to find out who you are. You can't. I mean, you don't always. A lot of the books that our students read aren't representative of who they are. Mm-hmm. So finding who they are in those books sometimes isn't always there. You know, sometimes finding who they are might be in the teacher. And luckily, we have teachers who can say, "This is I look like your mom. I look like your dad. I look like your uncle, your aunt." So sometimes they're lucky enough to have those. But if they aren't, you know, it's unfortunate that they look in a book where it doesn't represent who they are. It doesn't represent their culture. You know, especially if you have kids who are coming from other countries whose language isn't English. It's their sometimes their third language. If they're coming from some countries, it might be French, it might be something else, it might be Spanish, and then they're picking up this language where this is all foreign to them, and it's like growing up in the city, being introduced to the States. You almost have to conform as a youth because you want to fit in.
Yeah.
You kind of. I'm a product of that. My parents are from Belize. Luckily, if I was born here, but growing up here in the city, you weren't unfortunately allowed to know who you are when you leave the home. Mm-hmm. It's like you're black and that's it.
Yeah.
You know, and
right.
I love being
whatever the experience is in the home, that's if you do anything, you stray from that, you're looked at as being strange, weird. It's not. You don't have the conformity because they never wanted to step outside the box, or maybe they didn't have the they just didn't have the balls to do it. Bottom line, because some people do think, oh, that'd be so nice to do, but they never actually put the work in to do it.
That's that I can't-itis. Like, I can't do that because of so and so. And we had opportunity to work with so many different races. I never knew about mango and fried salami until I was at the summer program and they were all bringing in different types, and I was like, what is this? What is that? Oh, my mom made that. And it's a whole unity. I realized when it came to the summer program, not only did I allow myself to be a responsible adult, but I allowed myself to be a kid again too. Mm-hmm. And then the kids are a look from you, and they'll reflect that. You'll reflect that off of them to the point where they're like, I have the courage to stand up and join the talent shows, or to do this, or to perform, because we did a lot of STEM program. Like, we did a lot where we worked with a lot of technology, had them do their own cooking shows, dancing lessons, and it was amazing because you could see, like, all right, we're going to do Italy this week, or we're going to do, Europe, or whatever the case is, and go to the different places, and they research it, but it's just to see the pure essence of that ether, and it's just like, you can find it now. They're so judgmental when it comes to trying to be your pure self without trying to put on different layers. And I find that peer pressure is still like alive in adulthood. You'll find certain people won't want to act like this because a certain, everybody gonna think I'm weird, or whatever the case is. So once again, art therapy helps because it allows you to feel like God allowed everybody to come in and expand with one of their senses, or probably multiple. There's multiple people that can do multiple things. Like, I didn't even know Kanye West was a painter before. I didn't know Michael Jackson was doing paint either. I'm like, whoa. So it's just like, you find certain things that you like, and that's when it goes back to the heart of a child, finding that joy. And you said graffiti was yours because what? Wild style, all that funk. Like, and I was like, it's just super dope to understand that all of us is an aspect of God. Everybody is a raindrop that's just hitting the ocean as a collective. And when you look at the ocean, you can't see those individual raindrops. You just see a big sea. So, yeah. So that's what we're bringing today. And like, it's always going to be in us. Even like James Brown said, I got soul, I'm super bad. When you feel certain stuff, it's just in you. So it's in our music, it's in our craft, it's in everything we do. It's funky. It's electric. Boogie, woogie, woogie. Okay?
I do want to acknowledge something you said a moment ago about the senses.
Yeah.
Like, again, graffiti is one of the things that I love. And like, you mentioned Kanye West, and he said something that was interesting in one of his interviews a while back, and I thought I was crazy because I did the same thing. Like when I would see images, I would see colors, and I thought it was something was wrong with my eyes. I literally thought I was going crazy until Kanye West did an interview, and he said the same thing. He would see the images float around, he would see colors, and it kind of like made me feel better about myself. Because I literally thought I was going crazy. So like those senses, you get that heightened ability of seeing outside the box and seeing what other people don't see. In addition to that, like again, I love graffiti, and whenever I smell, to this day, when I smell spray paint, I haven't written in well over a few decades, but whenever I smell spray paint, I get this nostalgic feeling of like, oh my God, 3 o'clock in the morning, running around my friends, or I'm not gonna say who they are because they
you know who you are.
tagging on police cars. I will admit I've done that. I've tagged on the paddy wagon before, tagging everywhere, just like that. As a teen, that sense of like rebellion, being rebellious, being out there. Like
I don't know. We have some graph artists around these parts as well, and they're well beyond teen years, so they still find that gratifying.
Yeah.
No, it's very gratifying.
Yeah.
Some of those, and I tell people don't frown on that art because some of those are your fashion designers. Some of those are your graphic designers. Some of those are like look how deep into you go into advertising firms. Those are former graffiti artists. Most of them have black books.
Self-expression.
Yeah.
Most of them have black books where they draw and they sketch, and I still draw and sketch. I used to design clothes, and then those that also I had a clothing line also. Like that was something I did because I wanted to be able to share myself with the world, share my art, and I think that's really important. Like to what I need. So you guys are talking about art therapy. It's therapeutic.
Yeah.
Going to an art show is therapeutic. Listening to music. Before I got on, I was listening to The Far Side Pass Me By, Indignable Planets. I had this playlist of like 90s hip hop, which is so nostalgic for me, and it helps me get through the day. Like to what you were saying earlier about being judged on doing something different, I tell people, who cares? You can't beat me.
Yeah.
Like,
you have to get to that point though. And,
that's true.
And for some people that takes, it takes a lot of courage and strength and time.
But you can't beat me to be me. You can't even have the strength, or I had to add on to that. You don't even have the strength or the courage enough to go through the trials and error and everything that made me this self-expressionary type of being. You will never be able to walk down this lane. That's why I think God to this day, to create different people and different cultures and tribes, we're all one, and from there you get to learn. In New York, I learned about so much different cultures and different languages and stuff like that, even though I had a background on Fulani and took 4 years of German, so ich spreche Deutsch. So I've learned that the language, no matter where you go, when I was in Africa and she doing all that, I'm like, oh snap, he did something wrong. The baby next to him said, told you, Dad, told you. So it don't matter. Like the pure essence knows who you are. The God in me sees the God in you. So it's just like, I like the fact that, like, no matter what Kanye West goes through, he's still bringing that fire. And I think now he's hitting because he was all out, like, this is me. And now I think over the time of just being in that spotlight, he just wants to kind of like draw in. You see him going spiritual. So it's something. So like, even when it goes back to like old, like Negro spirituals, was always something that just kept you moving and going. That's that pure essence. It's that ether. And sometimes, like the song say, we fall down, but we get up. At the end of the day, we're gonna fall, but it's gonna take us a couple of times. A baby, when it starts walking, it don't just get up and be like, "Hey, what's up, y'all?" It's like, oh, hey, I'm like, oh, and I feel like a lot of the times we forget to realize that this is a game, not necessarily a game, but this is your reality that you're creating through your imagination. So
no, I looked at it that way before. Like,
it is.
When you start like thinking about things, you're like, oh, I need to do this to get to this step. Kind of like levels, like you said, like a video game. You're like, okay, I'm on level. I got it.
That's how I see it. But I want to just feel like, it's like high school. Like you might be studying AP chemistry where somebody might be studying Latin, and somebody really gets to break down the chemicals and stuff more easier, and somebody might know language better. I had a tongue tied on that one. So it's just like at the end of the day, the pure essence is like it's never gonna leave. Like even we had it in the 60s when they were rioting and they were marching, and in the 70s, especially the 70s, that's when the break dance and the real like the doom doom to get funky like that hit that came out around that time. Around also they didn't have that much when it came to like rights and stuff like that, but they still brought out pure music. And why do you think New York came so funky like that? Because everybody was running to New York. Everybody wanted to be in the boogie down Bronx. Like
I mean, there's a bunch of things. Like you said, the Bronx is burned, the Boogie Down Bronx, that's where hip hop started. You got Queensbridge, you got Queens. That's where, it grew also. You even had the Harlem Renaissance. We had tons of artists who were painters, jazz musicians. So New York is a big part of the transformation of music and soul and art, throughout the history of not only through America, but throughout the world. A lot of people do come back here. I think it's really, really important to look at that and know your history and know where it comes from. Appreciate your history. I'm not saying beat your head over it, go learn everyone, but appreciate it. Know where it came from.
Right.
Show, this is a give back. I learned that this is where it came from, and I'm going to grow from it. I'm going to build on it. Never knock the past. Tell people don't never knock the past. Build on the past. Yeah. Make it bigger than what it is. But again, acknowledge that background. One of the things I do want to mention as far as art therapy, and I'm so happy you brought me in, because I think one of the most interesting things you can look at when it comes to musicians or artists, you can almost find out what phase of their life they're in. Like looking at their art. Like, when because I had a big bout with depression, what have you, and you could look at some of my photos. I had to stop posting at one point because I was literally in a blue phase. Wow. Where all my photos would come out a certain way because I was dealing with something personal, and I caught myself, but no one else knew. But I caught myself like, wow, I'm shooting in a certain aspect because of what I'm going through, and I was happy I was shooting through a certain aspect that I was going through. Like listening to one of my favorite MCs is Mac Miller. Shout out to Mac Miller, all the Mac Miller fans out there. Like listening to his music, him making the album for Ariana Grande, because he was in love, and then his latter albums, he was telling you what he was going through, and people weren't listening. And that's really important when you have someone who is a creative or a creator in some shit. They're showing you, they're telling you through their words, through their photos, through their graffiti. They're showing you and telling you what they're going through. So what I would say to everyone, love their art, but also pay attention to their pain. Or not only their pain, but pay attention to their love, their energy they're putting out there. Because they're trying to tell you something, they might not be able to tell you verbally, but I'm expressing it through this manner. Whether like I said, whether it's love songs or photos of just with the blue hue or the way I dance. I'm only dancing in contemporary. Like they're telling you what's going on in their life without telling you. And sometimes that's what happens through art, and it's really important, and it helps you get through that pain. Trust me. Taking those pictures, writing those. I know you right. I know that.
Right.
Writing those songs, it helps you. You have to. I would say to everyone who is going through anything, whether it's love, pain, distress, go through it. Use your art. Push it out.
As they say,
it's your baby. Life. Yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
As they say, art imitates life.
Absolutely, it's your baby. Push your baby out. I know men can't have babies, so I apologize. But push it out. Push it out to the world.
That cosmic subjective plan out, because one of the videos I was watching, and it was on this gentleman named King Randall. He's 22 years old. He was in the military. I think he was in Marines. Now he took it upon himself to elevate himself, to get educated, graduated. Then he went back down to Georgia, started a nonprofit for boys, the healing boys, the ones that's incarcerated. He started a boarding school because he realized when he helped them and he took them back out to the wolves ate them up. So he started a boarding school, and a lot of that is just like some people come down here already knowing what they're supposed to do. He's 22, and he already created a GoFundMe where he actually gain about like $100,000 within a couple of months just off of being on CNN talking about, we're talking about voting, but we're not talking about I don't care about the voting right now because at the end of the day, my people are hurting right now. We need to do something now. The voting, we can vote all we want to, but we need to self-sufficiently do something now. And I feel like that's that self-expression. Like the great thing about this now, we have so much technology where you see smaller business that's like a painter. It's an artist that I follow in New York. She makes these funky graffiti bags and they're so big and dope. And she be on TikTok and she'd be like, oh, just take the time out to self-expression. Like we are in the age of Aquarius, so we shouldn't judge nothing because trust me, it's a lot of celebrities out here nowadays. Let's just call it like that. It's a lot of gifted people that want to express themselves, and there's nothing wrong with that. And once again, like
once you've been given that platform, that's for sure.
Right. But once you see the guy in you and you're like fearless, like some of the greats, Biggie, Michael Jackson, even I was listening to Rotary Connection and I was just like, whoa, they were beyond their time. They were talking about stuff that we're dealing with now. Like, so it's just like to see New York, it's a big melting pot because everybody looks at New York as like the fashion capital too, or at the same time, it's a melting pot.
They get credit for a lot.
Yeah, they very well do. But also we gotta make sure we pay homage to, because we took the children one time to the African burial grounds downtown, and there's buildings that are over these burial grounds. We didn't even know that there was black-owned businesses before like the gentrification came about. There's tons down in like, what is it? It's like a lower Manhattan area.
Yeah, lower Manhattan.
So it's just like, whoa. So to know that we already came and did certain things, like, whoa, it's so funky. Like even the song "You Dropped the Bomb on Me," baby, that's the song technically talking about the first Black Wall Street getting the bombs dropped on them. Like this is all, and like you say, pay attention to a lot of the stuff because it's history. It's a lot of the stuff. Like I was listening to another song and they were talking about something riding Joe Biden, so that will always be a part of like history. Like
it's been marked in history.
Right. So how amazing, like how I feel like art therapy allowed me to slow down my mind because I like writing, but at the same time I do like talking, but sometimes the talking could be like boo, 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 and I have to slow it down sometimes and be like, let me write this out. Ooh, that feels good, and it allows me to release a lot of tension. Like it does. So I just say thank you so much for like pushing me a little bit more when it came to the music, because it was just like that was my intention to come to New York. However, I had to slowly do that, but I had to realize you was my sure enough. You had to push me, and I was Bruce Leroy acting a little timid. What was holding you back? It was just responsibility. I started working at with City Air for a year. And from there, I knew I wanted to work with kids, but with Children's Aid Society, that's basically when you're doing that, that's your life during that time. I'm sorry to say, you're making schedules. You're there with them 6:30 in the morning time. You're going home around 6:30 at night. Yeah. So I love them. Those are my babies. Like, so a lot of the times, like, I was also a Richmond facilitator. So I was working with the teacher and a social worker on the side, teaching them language with flashcards and stuff. So it was one girl was like, take me with you, and that's all she knew. When she graduated, she was like, I'm out, miss. I did it. And I was just like, oh my God, I remember when you said take me with you, and now you grown now, you don't need mama no more. So it's like the pure essence. What do you say is lagging now? Because when we started as a team, as together. Oh, shout out to Brandon. Brandon's a top chef too. I was just looking at his post.
Brandon's a dope dude.
Yes, he is an amazing chef. So I was just thinking about him. When we started, we were all like, we were foreigners. We came together, but we were like a family. It was a unity. Why do you feel like the unity has been taken away from like music, or not just like the essence of like hip hop, or or like the aspect of like New York vibration? Why do you feel like the unity is like stripped away? Because you used to say
everyone wants to be an individual.
Okay.
Everyone wants to be a chief, and there's nothing wrong with being an Indian or like, everyone wants to be out front. And I mean, everyone can't be a friend. Everyone can't be a rapper. Everyone can't be the top dog. Like sometimes you have to know your role, and sometimes you have to waste your time. But I think what we lost was our originality. Like we're making music that
Sample.
Isn't
a lot of sampling.
It isn't the essence of New York hip hop anymore. It's what everyone else is doing around the country. And it's not. I'm not knocking what everyone else is doing, but you can't differentiate our music from anyone else's.
Yeah.
Like you would be able to say, "Well, that's a New York artist."
You'd have a sound.
And unfortunately, we no longer have that sound. We do drill music now.
Yeah.
We do mumble rap now. It's not. And I'm not knocking those artists. Make your money, make your music. Express yourself. But the originality. We don't look like anyone else. We don't look any different from a person who's in Chicago or a person from LA or a person from Philly or a person from Miami. We all look the same now.
Right. Everybody's riding the same wave. And it's just Absolutely. Like, oh. But I was watching the video and they were talking about the drill music is basically like these teens, they're frustrated. So they're coming out with war music. There is the music of warriors. So all that, I just think about like Mansa Musa or like Zulu Nation. They're all like, they don't know what to do with that self-expression. You feel me? So they're
aggression. It is a bit aggressive, and I'm not knocking it. Do your thing. Do your thing, young people. Do your thing. But I mean, like, what's the message behind your music? How far do you want to push it?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like I'm a big NWA fan, and that was about rebellion also. But there was a message behind it. There's longevity to that music. Like there's certain songs you can still play to this day. Express Yourself, F the Police. There's a bunch of songs you can still play. And those songs came out in '89, and it's 2022. Yeah. Like what's next for you? Again, make your drill music, but how do you differentiate yourself from someone else? How are you coming out of the pack? Like,
how are you going to get played on the oldies channel decades later?
Yeah. Because it's going to be trending for right now, but is it going to be like a song that's going to be timeless and they're going to be like, put that on? But once again, I feel like it goes back to like the music. They took a lot of the like great, like the Parliament or like any type of funky like quartet or group basically they were instrumental. They were musicians. They studied the craft. They took the time out.
They bonded. Now people are like, hey, you want to do a feature?
Yeah.
And y'all don't take the time to even connect to, create properly.
You guys bring up a good point. Like I remember watching a video with Terry Jam and he was talking about taking Janet Jackson on a ride. They drove around. They talked to her. And that's how they wrote her songs. Just based off of getting to know her and having these conversations, building that bond. Like when I write these songs, it's about you. It's not about what I want. It's about what you want and who you are. And that's what I'm saying to these new artists. What do you want and who are you? Like, are you this true gangster? Is that who you really are? Okay. Live that, be that, express that, but what is it? And then what's next? Are you the leader? Or again, I'm all for self-expression, like I said earlier. As long as it's not a detriment to you, who you are, it shouldn't tear down who you are and the people around you. If it doesn't harm people, it doesn't harm you, rock out, have fun. Be the best at it. If you're gonna do drill or if you're gonna do any type of hip hop, be the best. Don't be average. Be the best at it. Be Busta Rhymes of Leaders in the New School. I'm sorry to anybody else who is in the New School. Be Busta Rhymes. Be Kendrick of Black Hippie. I'm a big Absol fan and a big I love all of them. But be that guy. Be that guy or girl, whomever you want to be. Be that person. That and use your art. Like be Pop Smoke. Express yourself. Use that music to galvanize people, to make people love you, to make people believe in you. Like that's the most important thing I think when it comes to art. When people look at your art or listen to your art or watch your art, what emotions are they getting from you? What emotions are you getting from them? Is it tears from the words you're expressing? Is it the dance you have them in awe? Like what's that expression? Because like You are the therapy also, just like the therapy that this is you expressing your therapy. Guess what? When I listen to your music, Ania, you're my therapy.
Thank you. I appreciate it. But like you said, I was going through a lot of things, and I think a lot of people are hard on other people. There's things people go through in life. Yeah. It's not all about like, okay, I'm gonna write a joyous song. Sometimes you gotta write that song that you gotta get up when you feel down. It gets better. Don't you know that you matter? Mm-hmm. So at the end of the day, I was going through something, and it's healing. It's like sometimes I have to go back to like my favorite artist is Aretha Franklin. Like I love how she'll do rock steady, that's how I feel now. Tell me down the doctor, tell me what it is. So at the end of the day, she'll do that, but she'll do don't trouble the waters, leave alone. So when you sit there and you listen to stuff like that, she be like, it's spiritual. So, and it also means sometimes you need to sit still and understand when you're going through your low, sit still and understand what is causing that. And once again, you have to find a way to find what sense matters to you, whether it's the taste, whether it's the eyes, but don't put a lot of pressure on yourself, because we're here we're children of God. We're making mistakes as we learn. No manual came when they came to this. There's a couple of manuals, but they're occultic. But there's no manual that came with it to say, hey, this is what you got to do. You know, so a lot of the times I like the 70s and the 80s music because they were still a family oriented and like everybody's for themselves, and there's nothing wrong with that. But at the same time, like India Ari say, come back to the middle because you have to teach. It's not just about the adults right now. Yeah, we had trial and error, but as you can see, the children, if we don't find a way to mold them like King Randall is doing, he wants to take the time out. He's teaching them how to fix cars. He's teaching them how to do certain things, whether it's painting, construction, and how to know the law, be aware of the law, because a lot of people are not aware of that. And if you're ignorant to stuff, ignorance is blissful, but at the same time, when it bites you in the ass, it's going to bite you, and it's going to be hard. So it's just like, yeah, we have to find the balance of the knowing how to self-express ourselves, but at the same time, how to sit and just be quiet, because that is the absolute, like, balance of the two, you know?
I think something you also mentioned, Leah, is fear.
Yeah.
People are sometimes afraid to let themselves be vulnerable. You know, they'll listen to a song. They're like, you write. Like I said, I stopped shooting because I had to stop. I didn't want people to know the pain that I was going through.
Right.
But sometimes you just keep doing it. You know, like it's okay that there's pain out there. It's okay there's happiness out there. And this is so important to me. Like, you shouldn't also fault someone else's pain or someone else's happiness. Like, you shouldn't look down on it. You know, like I love Kendrick's new album. Like, I'm a big Kendrick fan. Like, there's the one song that not everyone, most people dislike, We Cry Together, where he's arguing. Like, I think people hate that song because it's a reflection on true life. Yeah. Not everyone's true life, but some people's true life. Similar to the movie Malcolm and Marie on Netflix, where there was the two couples in Dyer and Denzel Washington's son, I forget his name, David Washington. They were arguing, but it was like there was this love there. Like, you know, that's this reality in that people were afraid to talk about. They didn't want people were afraid to say, this is what I'm going through. I love it because I went through stuff similar like that. So it was like, you know what, this is therapeutic because like I watched it, I listened, whether it was watching the movie or listening to the music. It was like, this is how I felt, and this is what I went through. You know, and I think those are things are really important when you, like I said earlier, what emotions that you're getting. Like, why are you angry at this film? Why are you disgusted at this song? Why are you disgusted with this painting? Is it says something about you? Mm-hmm. That's your therapy. Let's look at it. Let's dissect it. Yeah. Let's talk about it. Let's figure this out. Yeah. And that's why, you know, it's really, really important. Art therapy is so important. And people might not think art is therapeutic, but it is. Like I said, dancing, skating, you know, hang glider, whatever that space that you feel safe. Like that term, the safe space. Like I started painting recently. That is my safe space. Mm-hmm. When I paint, nothing else is there. Mm-hmm. Literally, I don't hear anything around me.
It's like the Disney movie Soul when he was playing the piano. Jamie Foxx playing the piano, and he went into this hue, and everything disappeared, and no time or space or anything like that. It's just absolute essence of that ether, which is amazing. So I like the fact that, like, Kanye West, not Kanye West, but Kendrick Lamar is allowing us to do therapy on the mask, because he's like, when you strip so much of your stuff off and you see your demons or your stuff you created, you ugly. And it's not like a form of like, okay, like you look ugly on the outside, because everybody's trying to run to, let me get this next phone or let me get this next car, and when they get the rush from it, and then 2 days later they're like, I don't even want this no more, I want the next thing. So it's just like to go in and look internally. That's what I've been dealing with. The shadow work this whole month has been like really having me have me write out a lot of things that I've been going through, because it's just like I have a build up, and we build up things and sweep them under a rug, and you just like, ain't nothing underneath there, and it's a whole elephant. So it's just like we have to find that inner joy, that energy, that inner chi. And I've been meditating, I've been doing qigong, I've been doing a lot of tai chi to move that, and you know, that frequent energy that has a tendency to get built up in certain chakras. So it's just like I have to find a way to do that instead of lashing out, you know. And I think that's like a lot of the
we can't do that.
yeah, a lot of the people have to understand that the first self-love is loving yourself. It's in a relationship, it's say me, you, then us. You got to heal yourself before you can heal anybody else, and then you can heal the world. Biggie said that shit too. You can't heal the world. You can't heal the world until you heal yourself. So at the end of the day, we have to come back to that. Like, there's no competition. Everything's a competition, or everybody's just like comparing and contrast. Everything's verse, and we come together, we can make a beautiful harmony or a beautiful melody. But at the end of the day, like, we all have highs and lows, you know, and that's the true essence of this game of life that we're playing, you know.
There's something for everybody.
Yeah. So I just feel like I want to put this out here too. Like, if you have a team that surrounds you, they will definitely build you up. You have to be around a certain amount of people, because like in the animal kingdom, like, it's wild, and a lot of people spiritually are not in tune when it comes to certain things like that. So surround yourself with certain people. You know, if somebody has, you know, something to say, instead of being two-faced about it, you come to that person and say, hey, I feel this way, instead of going behind somebody's back that you think that's a part of your team and everything like that, and they're not. So it's just like everybody has to be on the same frequency, because there'll be like certain people that they had in the Black Panthers, and they were like, oh, they my brothers and stuff like that, and they were informants. So it's just like, at the end of the day, be around a certain frequency and use discernment. Like, when it's time for you to paint, oh, I'm feeling some type of way, or I'm feeling built up, let me take this out. I took the time out to really work out in the sun today, because there's a lot of energy build up. Take that and release it creatively. You know, it doesn't necessarily have to be like I got to do something destructively, you know. And that's what art therapy helped me with, I feel like.
And then you said something, you found another example. Like, art, again, I said earlier, art is self-expression, art is interpretation. Like sculpting your body, working out, that's art.
Yeah.
Like that's a discipline.
Yeah.
Art is a discipline. And if you can go to the gym and work on your body and get a six-pack and have abs and muscles and all that, that is your art. You are a work of art. You are the David, or whatever, or Venus, or the Venus. You are whatever that sculpture is. You are that. So again, people stop saying you are not a creator. People stop saying that you are not an artist.
You just got to find whatever it is. Yeah.
You are an artist. Everyone who's watching, listening, I'm going to say it again. You are an artist. Trust me when I say that. And then if that means that if you, whatever it is, I trust you, whatever it is that you do, and you're good at it, and it brings you peace, and it, or it gets you through your day, that's your art. And find that space, and make time for it. And people around you, like Nia is saying, they have to understand. Surround yourself with people who want to grow. Even if you mess up or they mess up, find out how to grow.
Yeah.
Because if you mess up, they'll come and check you, but not only check you, but like, how do we get through this together?
Exactly. Empathy. And nobody has that no more. It's like everybody's desensitized. Everybody is just so quick to run their mouths and just say so much of the monkey brain, constantly just judging, don't take the time out. I'm a reflection of you. So darn, when that person come to me and I see them, I'm like, oh, I need to pull back and understand why is that reflection coming to me? Why are they saying certain things to me like that? You know, and it's nothing wrong with that. It's just that Big Mama, if Grandma was around, she gonna give you that love, but at the same time, she gonna make sure, did you eat? Are you okay? Everything's all right? And there's nothing wrong with that tough love because you need it. Those are the people that's really, when you win at the finish line, they're going to be like, I knew you could do it. I knew you big it up. Shout out to my sister. My sister lost 175 pounds now off of Herbalife. She took the time out. And one thing I just got finished watching, shout out to CJ. He put me on this video that I watched before, but I forgot about it. Procrastination. It was on a TED's talk. There's nothing wrong with procrastination. What's wrong with procrastination is the anxiety behind it, because you're looking at it saying like, oh, I'm doubting it. There's two poles. So you got to doubt and then you got to believe. It's not that you're putting it, the energy already, or the anxiety of free energy that you could be taking and put into like, oh, I want to do this. Why? Because I feel like it. And there's nothing wrong with having procrastination because you have to sit still. But at the same time, you have to get up. And I like the fact that a lot of people were like knocking down, I'm sorry to say Whitney Houston, but she kept trying. She was one of the talented. But once again, whoever you surround yourself with, they suck the life out of her. Yeah. And you just have to really take the time out to really stand quiet, because it's so loud nowadays. Lately it's been so loud and so much violence, and I take the time out to just be like, appreciate the littlest things, because it's the little things that matter, and the little things is what makes certain songs. Broken bubble in the glass, people pissing up, you can't stay fast, you can't stay. That's the story. He was probably walking. Darn, it's broken glass everywhere. People pissing it's a history, and there's nothing wrong with that. It was that, and I felt like a lot of the music that they had when African Bambaataa was out, it was very poetic. It was very like they took the time out to express themselves spiritually, and there was nothing wrong with it. They were futuristic, out of this world at times, but it means something. And it's like, I understand we get to the point where we're frustrated and want to lash out and say certain music, but that lowers your frequency even more. Kanye West said that the 808 drum right there, that's a low chakra, a low frequency compared to a 216 or 432 hertz. So it's just like, you set the tone, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's nothing wrong with being in that negative pulse, but you got to make sure you balance it out.
How long you gonna stay there? You have to take control, and a lot of that is people are so stuck in the parking lot of life, right? You become complacent, you're comfortable, you may not know any different. So you sit there too long, and then you either miss opportunities, or you feel as though, like we talked about earlier, oh, well, that maybe I can't do that, or it's not for me, and the other people of the same vibration are telling you the same thing. That's not what we do. You know, that's you're weird for thinking you have interest in that or whatever, and it just becomes this whole cycle. So yeah, becoming self-aware is so important. And then of course, like you're talking about, is just getting that raising that vibration and finding a way to be able to express, learn new things. Part of satisfying your spirit is participating in life. And we become so scared sometimes as children to participate because of others. Oh, what are they going to say? What are they going to think? How are they going to feel? So it's so hard, especially as adults who have not overcome that, to overcome that.
Yeah. Being complacent is more easier than actually taking the time out to go into unknown waters, because you're comfortable. And like, even with like my friend that was on here last week, Q, shout out to Q, we were talking about cryptocurrency. A lot of people are really getting onto this. They just had their second like global meeting, and there's a debit card wallet that's about to be available for us to start using these cryptocurrencies. And it's like a blessing for me to take that time out and be like, you know what, I don't know really too much about it, but the more that I started going into those waters, I was aware of it. The more I started diving deep into like studying who I am. Don't tell me what I learned in the history books. That's not me, because there's history prior to that. You know, Timbuktu and Mass Musa and Zinga. You know, there's so many greats out there. Like, I was watching the documentary, the Germans originally were we're black. You know, they were a darker tone. So it's just like a lot of the things we put in the TV or they put on the book, sometimes you got to go even deeper, because that's when you can really find like the joy. A lot of people are doubting themselves because they don't see a lot of themselves on commercials, on TVs. But now I like TikTok. And now they're talking about they're going to ban TikTok because of, somebody's going to go in and take your information. But this is the self-expression app where you're allowed to do certain stuff like that. And a lot of people have been getting jobs and millions of dollars off of this platform. So why take somebody's joy away from them, you know? All that editing and all, I don't know how to do that. I would have to watch a YouTube video on how to edit all that, because it takes the time out to do all that and switch it out. That, once again, everybody has an eye for certain things. Mm-hmm. So it's just like that is one of the pros that I like about the technology and like about people being able to express themselves, you know?
It does provide other platforms, that's for sure.
I also want to mention, like, is listening to you guys talk. Self-expression isn't about competition. Don't ever compete with anybody else. The only person you should ever compete with is yourself. You always want to outdo yourself. And if you can't outdo yourself, just create. Like, it's so important. It's like listening to you guys talk, I'm thinking about people who I know and been around, and then you say, you know, grandma, what have you. People don't want to grow up anymore.
Yeah.
Everyone is the same age. Everyone looks alike. You have 40-something-year-olds look just like 20-something-year-olds. You have 20-something-year-olds like 40-something-year-olds. And I'm not knocking them. Love yourself, you know, be yourself. But also, we don't have to compete with each other. You can look alike, but don't compete with each other. Mm-hmm. Like, love yourself and love each other. Like, that's so important. Mm-hmm. Love is so important. Like, getting to know who you are. Like, dude, like, this person might have the same jacket as you or whatever, or you have the same look. Walk up to him, give him a hug. Thank you. You're beautiful. You're handsome. You're amazing.
Right.
Don't compete with each other. That's how you lose. When you're consistently competing just with each other, not working together or trying to build with each other, that's how you lose. That's where that frustration comes in. That's where that anxiety comes in. Well, what are they doing next? I have to do better than them. No, you don't.
Right.
You gotta do better than yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But don't compete with others. That's my opinion. Don't compete with others. Only compete with yourself. There's no one. I tell my kids this. I tell my friends this. I even posted this on Instagram. There's nobody better than you. Right. Nobody. That is my affirmation. Is look in the mirror and tell yourself there's nobody better than you. Trust me when I say that. And that doesn't mean that you're better than anyone or anyone's better than you. But that's just who you are. That's how you should feel. You should put yourself on a pedestal. You should love yourself. You should think you're great. There's nothing wrong with that. But don't compete with others. Because if you fail, if you lose, then you're mad. But who are you mad at?
You waste the energy on taking it out on somebody else opposed to using it on yourself. Like, absolutely. One thing that I realized that I've learned for this whole month, I can't put no type of situations or circumstances. I guess it's a bee. It wants to be around me. So it's just like I've taken the time out to learn that I can't put none of anybody else's responsibility on the circumstances that I've been through. That's all me. I brought everything onto myself. So what do I have to do? I have to take the time out. Okay, I need to make a little bit more time, or I need to do this. Certain things that happen, and that goes with putting those big mama panties on and be like, you know what? I have to be responsible. But once again, when I work hard, I need to find a way to use art therapy, because I get burned out. We all get burned out, and a lot of people take that energy when it goes back to the water element. If they're not drinking, they're not hydrated or anything like that, they'll take the time out to detox those toxins in their body, and they're full of ish. They're going to be toxic. They're going to bring toxicity into their reality. So it's just like that art therapy, being able to work hard and play hard. Because I know one thing that I like, the fact that we learned in school, it was a There was a DARES program, but there was a junior achievement program. I like the fact that when I was in school, we had a junior achievement program. We learned about money, we learned about finances, and also being like one of the leaders in a Girl Scout club for my sisters and stuff like that. I learned about finances early, so I learned how to budget, and I learned how to look at the future of this and the money behind fiat, and is anything back behind it. So just being educatedly aware. My friend's good in the art element, I'm good in the talking element. You're good in the sight, or at the same time, you're good at passion, because you always have kids coming around you when we're in the program and stuff like that. But I'm just basically saying we're all talented. There's no need to judge. We're all on the same basketball team. And I know lately they've been putting a lot of verses out here. A lot of verses and a lot of competition against each other. And there's nothing wrong with that. But understand it's just a game. That's all it is. It's just a game. So, yeah. But other than that, I appreciate you, Shavar, coming on here, taking the time out. It's good seeing you. I miss the energy of New York. I have to talk to you after I get off the phone with you, just to, so we can make some plans on some other things. But other than that, I just want to say thank you. It's an honor to get that New York, that Harlem energy. You never stop believing me, and you bring it real. Even when I do something wrong, you still be like, all right, Need, this is what you could do to better yourself. And I appreciate that. I love you for that. So,
Thank you guys for having me on. You guys are super dope. Trust me, I watch the other episodes. Need, I love you.
Oh, thank you. I try, and I was like, who can I put on here with a good, that's motivated me to step into my spotlight? Because it's hard. It's really hard when you got so many people judging you and stuff like that, and you're just like, I'm just trying to learn how to just be me without all these thoughts and these doubts coming in. That's that anxiety that comes in. So it's just like, you saw the God in me, and I appreciate that. I really do. Thank you. I always thought you were dope. You always had the waviest sneakers. The kids was always like, yo. I know for a fact the kids are always like, yo, those sneakers is wavy. So it's just like, I appreciate you seeing that in me, and I love you and adore you for that. So
everybody do dope shit. Please do dope shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Don't be different, be abstract. Be abstract, There's nothing wrong with that, Express yourself, love yourself, be positive, big up your partners, your friends. Big them up, show them positivity. It's easy to be negative. Yeah. It's easy to tell me I don't like you. But I'm going to tell you I love you. I always tell you I love you. Yeah. I always shout you out. I always big you up. Everybody I know who knows me, I'm bigging you up no matter what. This is the cover of my book or the pages in my book. I big up everyone. Well, this whole time I was saying, I'm sending this link out to everyone until they can watch it. So I get and now your voice is still dope.
Thank you so much.
You've been showing off the whole time. Every time you do a little singing piece out there, I'm gonna stop now.
Look, you understand. I have 4 other sisters that sing. My mom sings. Her sister sing. My mother's mother. So we come from a line of singing, and that's how I get through a lot of this stuff. Everything is a musical in my head,
Right.
So I guess this means I gotta sign off now, right? So no matter problem. I have my own show too. So
where can people find you?
You can use my Instagram. I have 2 Instagrams. My photography Instagram is provoke_madness. I'm not a mad person. I don't provoke people, but those are one of the coolest names. And my personal one is just JUST_Shavar CHEVAR. So either provoke_madness for photography, or just want to hear some positivity, go to my personal page, just_Shavar. And thank you guys again for having me.
Absolutely.
You guys have an amazing night.
Yeah, you too. Thanks for coming through.
Thank you.
Zooming through, right?
Yes.
Thank you.
Man, it definitely has been a good month, and I actually had an extra week with you because the month of June was so long.
Yeah,
so
definitely
it was cool. And you just planned it out so perfectly. You knew exactly what it was. You knew what to do, how many weeks fit your whole shebang. Like, girl.
Man, I was watching the Avatar, and I thought, I'm like, wow, there's five Thursdays. Whoa, 5 Thursdays. So I broke
Five
it down.
brings change.
And shout out to Shavar, because we were about those lesson plans. When it came to Children's Aid Society, we had to make sure those lesson plans was written out. So I did send a lot, like just to give the synopsis or my objective of the whole month. And it's just been an honor. It's been a pleasure to actually give myself therapy, just talking and expressing.
Another way of self-expression.
Yeah. So I really do appreciate you for that.
Yeah, absolutely. That is exactly what I aim to do. I want everybody to find new ways to meet new people, get new ideas. I like to plant that seed so you can do some growing and glowing.
Right. Because if you forgot you were seeds, every time they try to push you down, you're going to grow even more higher, like 20 feet tall. So it's just been a blessing.
That's okay. Give me the bullshit. I'm going to use it as manure.
True.
Make my soil real nice and fertile so I can grow strong.
Yeah.
So next month, which is just next week. Can you believe it's the 4th of July weekend already? Like it was just the beginning of the year. It just went like that.
I know.
But next month we're going to be here with Nelly Yoga Fitness. So we'll be learning some new stuff with her friends. And if you missed any part of this episode and you're interested in going back, you can check out the replay available on YouTube. Go to YouTube, type in Glockaware, and search for the latest episode of the X Radio. And where can they find you, girl?
Ania_mahogany, as well as www.aniamahogany.com for any music that's on any major platforms. All you gotta do is type in Ania Mahogany and you'll find me there. So yeah.
Check her out. I think she's just gonna start some stuff with kids. Like I think we're gonna talk about that.
Yeah, I actually put in an application for Ascension. It's gonna be a 12-week writing music with kids. So
look how
I see how that would be beautiful.
There you go. She just put it out there. So that shit's happening.
Yeah, shout out to Ascension, definitely.
And until next week, peace.
Yes, ashe.